so you graduate college and you're ready to start your career. How did the move to LA come about? I mean, that's such a giant leap for some people, and I'm always kind of curious as to how each person gets to that point and the different paths they take there. Did you have work lined up beforehand, or did you just kind of hop in a car or a bus and hope for the best?
It was a very strange move because I always knew I'd be going back, but I was assuming I would go to graduate school. That's why I wasted so much time in college getting these great grades again. I had like a 3.97, and I didn't need them at all because I ended up being so burnt out on school by the end that I said I can't do 3 years of grad school. I need to find one of those 1 year programs because I knew that a 3 year program is going to be a year of film studies. I spent all 4 years in college running a review site, studying film every second I had. I don't need to do that anymore. Like it's just it was something that was like not going to be valuable to me because I took about 6 classes on film theory when I was at Oregon State. Everything from like film history to horror and film theory. It was very interesting. So unfortunately, when I went down to move to LA again, my mom had just died of breast cancer. So my move was a little delayed. And so then I'm moving to this new city and driving in LA is its own thing. And I'm still coping with my mom's death. And it was pretty scary. So I went to LA Film School and I managed to drop out of my second film school after only 8 weeks. I couldn't even take it. But it was largely because the school would say things like constantly every day, well, you kids will learn more about this like once you're out in the real world. And if you hear that 5 times a day when tuition's 40 grand for the year, you're thinking,
So let's get out in the real world.
let's just get out of here. And so I'll credit them. I learned a lot in those 8 weeks because it was insane. Like we'd have 9 hours of class a day. We'd have 6 hours of class on Saturdays. They give us homework. So in 8 weeks, you'd be surprised how much you could learn. But I learned enough to know what it is that I didn't know and that I still needed to go and learn on my own. And then I just started creating work. And of course, my dad was helping me out for a little bit. And then he tells me, he's like, well, what's your plan to make a living down there, son? And I'm like, I don't know. I've only been here for 5 months. I don't even know how to make films, let alone make a living at anything. And so he's like, well, you better figure it out. So then he nudged me in the right direction and said, that businesses need videos. And, maybe we could go into making, corporate videos and stuff like that. And it didn't sound very exciting to me, but I was like, yeah, he's right. I mean, I could learn a lot from doing that, like hone the skills, make some money. And even though I don't like, I don't know, I get a mix of resentful with the company sometimes and also really grateful because it has helped me make a living for, you know, 16 years, maybe not all the years, but but like it's been a really good thing that I'm proud of. But I think that you can also get stuck in something where it's like, well, hey, wait a minute. If I just wanted to go into business, maybe I would have worked for my dad. Like that's not what I want.
That wasn't the plan.
That wasn't the plan. So it was kind of like, as long as I can do that and do like my primary film stuff, and then you have a period where it's like, a decade without making a feature film, that was the darkest part for me, the dark moment of the soul or whatever, where it's like every day I don't want to say, because would be a lie, that I didn't have time to pursue my dreams, like write scripts. I didn't have energy. Like by the time that I was done with the corporate stuff at the end of the day, I just want to hang out with my girlfriend, who's my wife now, or play video games or, watch movies because I was tired.
Well, you got to have some point to decompress after
Yeah.
the pressure of the day, right? So I'm imagining at some point you may have had one of those moments that people talk about where you come home to, whatever your living circumstances are with whatever your old car may be. You look in your bank account, there may not be much in it. It's a moment of truth for a lot of people. Did you ever have one of those moments? And if so, what kept the dream alive for you at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really like it was towards the end of 2017 where um it was a weird situation where like I worked very hard in the company and kind of building it up, but I also felt like some of my efforts weren't necessarily paying off. And so I told my top employee, I just said, I think that either next year you need to run the company, do the day to day, or I just want to give it up. I don't want to do this anymore. And luckily, she's a total control freak. So she was like, "Oh no, yeah, like I would like to keep doing it. Like you can still be involved, but like I'll take some of the stuff off the plate and I'll handle it." And I don't know what this says about me, but that next year was actually a record year without me being involved. So
There you
it's
have it,
sort of
right?
like I
That's
was
funny.
like, oh well, great. Yeah, there was my contribution. So then I spent all of 2018 writing scripts. And I finished 5 scripts, not all final. Like we're talking rough draft, maybe second, third draft kind of level. But it felt good. Like it was like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing. And I know they're just scripts, but that was the start. And one of those was the comic shop. So it was kind of like back on track. I just wanted to feel like I'm making even the tiniest bit of progress towards my real dreams. Um,
And the first feature film which hit the circuit for you was your debut film, Allison Fans, which is a comedy. So how is it that the writer director with the philosophy degree starts his career with a comedy? I mean, I like the dichotomy, but I want to know what the story is there. Where did that story come from?
Yeah, I mean, I still think about that sometimes, and it kind of bothers me because I don't think that there was enough like intention behind what should like your first feature maybe should be something more impactful, and maybe I should have thought through it more. And instead, what I did is I had a story I really liked, and I wanted to tell it, and I knew I could do it on a smaller budget. So so that logistical elements made sense. But like that's one thing I think about my first movie. I'm very proud of it. I think it's a good, funny movie, but I don't particularly think it has like a message, which is what, as a filmmaker, like that's kind of what I want is to have some sort of important theme or message. And yeah, I could say something like, "Oh, the first movie's theme is about the importance of honesty." Oh, wow, shocking! Like nobody's heard that before. But like it kind of was just something that came about because I was hanging out with these my two actors who were in it doing a short film, and I came up with this idea. I was like, what if because the girl Cooper, she she seemed to be somebody that everybody knew, even though she wasn't like a big actress. Everyone in the industry seemed to know who she was. And so I thought maybe she's like poised for the next step up.
It just blow up, yeah.
And so I thought, how funny would it be if she blew up, but then her boyfriend doesn't really go anywhere. And then just to pay the bills, like he starts a fan site about her, but like doesn't tell her. And so that was kind of the basis of the movie, which I like the idea of an industry film. I'm kind of a sucker for that, like Entourage. And I guess that it sounds a little funny. My wife was just making fun of me about that last night. She's like, you film people, you just love to watch yourselves do things. And it's like, I said, to be fair, we are the only ones who have the ability to make movies about ourselves.
So we're just going to keep doing different versions of
We're
Ocean's
just
11,
gonna keep
right?
doing
We're just going to keep
it.
cranking out Ocean's 11s.
But yeah, so it was kind of it didn't totally fit my um ideal aesthetic, whereas like my other scripts that I've written are usually very much based on some sort of philosophical messaging that I want people to think about. Like I'd say I'm fascinated by the idea of memory and the sense that like you kind of are your memory. Like, if you don't have memories of things like Alzheimer's, then you're not you anymore in the sense that matters. So I've had a lot of scripts kind of exploring that idea. And I've also been very interested by like the nature of reality, right? Like things like The Matrix or The Truman Show or Existence, The 13th Floor, these kinds of things. So I gravitate towards that, but the problem is so much of that is science fiction. And doing that on a tiny budget is just really hard. It's not impossible, but it's really hard.
Well, if you'd only learned special effects.
Yeah, no joke. I
Um,
mean,
so So your current release, The Comic Shop, it's classed as a drama, but
Yeah.
from what I can tell, it definitely has some comedic elements as well. And the trailer looks great. So how did this story come about for you? If I recall, it's based a bit on some of your own life experiences, right?
Yeah. So I did know a guy named Mike, hoping he doesn't like dig up this movie, I guess, because we didn't really change his name. I mean, he really was Mike. But oh well, it's not like it's that similar to him in a lot of ways. It was a jumping off point because I used to go to comic shops as a kid all the time. And I became, kind of friendly with one of the comic shop owners who I'd see every week. And uh I guess that when he closed the store, it kind of felt like the end of an era in a way. And I always wondered what happened to him. He didn't seem really in it at the end. Like he didn't have the enthusiasm that he used to. And so I was just sitting there thinking, of all things, this is on a corporate trip. I was flying to LA for our annual meeting. And I just started thinking about that. And I was like thinking about how I thought a comic shop would be the coolest thing in the world to do for a living when I was like 11. It's like, man, imagine owning your own comic shop. But here I am as an adult realizing that, yeah, owning any business is a lot of work. It's regulatory stuff, taxes, accounting, bookkeeping, employees, inventory. It's not really that much fun. So then I started thinking like maybe there was something else Mike wanted to do. Like maybe this wasn't his dream. And that kind of started this narrative about like, oh, I could tell this fictional story about Mike really wanting to be a comic illustrator and then parallel it to my own where it's like I run this business making corporate videos, but I really want to be a filmmaker, full time, whatever. And so I started mirroring those two and then like adding fictional elements on top of it. And once I got to that point, I thought, well, yeah, but now what? Like, what's the journey? Like, and that's where Brandon came in. Like, there had to be some sort of catalyst. And I thought that sometimes this is a little bit of the philosophical thing. Some of the articles will say like, oh, I noticed the movie has like this mentor protege thing. Oh, see, I don't see that at all. I don't see that at all. Mike is not a mentor to Brandon.
It kind of goes the other way around, right? A little
They
bit.
each learn as much from each other, if
Yeah.
not like learning more from Brandon. And that's something that I'm a little rebellious in life. So I don't agree with the like respect your elders. I think respect everybody is a better saying. But I think that there's elder people who haven't done anything. They've just existed longer. And I'm like, that doesn't deserve respect. You have to work for respect. And I think that sometimes younger people have the purity that I try to find myself. So sometimes like I will think, what would young Jonathan, what would college Jonathan think? And then I was like, well, college Jonathan wouldn't take no for an answer. He'd just keep going and think he's going to do it anyway. But middle-aged Jonathan might be like, oh, what's the point? It's probably not going to work out anyways, or something like that. So I wanted Mike to see a younger version of himself and realize that there's something there. Like he's lost this youthful optimism that you can combine that with wisdom. Like wisdom is great, but wisdom with like cynicism isn't really a recipe for moving forward in life. So that's kind of what I want Mike to discover again, is that sense of like that it's just about the art. Like to Brandon, he doesn't care. He just likes drawing. He's not thinking about all the real life implications, the bills. He's not processing the statistics of whether he's going to make it or not. He just likes to draw, you know?